What's up everyone, and welcome to a Minecraft Bedrock command block video. Lately I've been trying to learn command blocks, so as I learn, I'm going to share the information I learn with you. This video is going to be a basic introduction to command blocks. I'm going to go over the 3 different types of command blocks and kind of go over all of their individual settings. So what is a command block? Basically, it allows you to run slash commands with redstone. It's a redstone component, so you can add a slash command into your redstone machines. The command block isn't available in the creative item inventory. Instead, you actually have to give yourself a command block using the /give at self command block command. Since command blocks can use any of the slash commands, it can basically do anything that you can possibly imagine. But let's start off by talking about the 3 different types of command blocks. You can toggle what type of command block it is from its own settings. Simply click Interact with it and it will pull up the menu for everything that you can do to it. And in the block type, you can actually change which type of command block it is. Basically, the impulse only activates once, the chain activates in a chain of command blocks, and the repeat is always active and constantly repeats itself. The most basic of the 3 is the impulse, so we're going to start off by talking about that one. The impulse will activate the command that you input here anytime that it is activated. You can name the command block in the upper left-hand corner. This doesn't do anything for most of the commands, but for things like /say, it will actually pop up with the name of the command block before it says the text that you told it to. In general, your impulse command blocks are going to need redstone in this little section here where it says needs redstone. This means that anytime it receives a redstone signal, it will activate whatever command you input. Now also remember, this is just a redstone component. The button doesn't actually have to be on the command block, it just has to receive a redstone signal from somewhere. Most of the time, you're probably going to use it with a single button, that way the command activates when you press the button, but you can also use the command block as part of a machine. You can attach it to a clock so it activates every time the clock activates. This allows you to make redstone contraptions that literally do anything that you can possibly imagine. But with that being said, they don't actually need redstone. You can actually turn off the needs redstone and have it be always active. If an impulse command block is always active, it will activate one time when it's loaded, and then not activate anymore. Even if you use a button on it, it will not activate more than once. That's basically the unique thing about the impulse block type of command block. Whereas the blue repeat command block will activate over and over forever. And this is where the delay and tick setting comes in. A repeat command block set to always active will activate every single tick. Now, especially with text input, that can be kind of spammy. So if we switch it to 50 ticks, then every 50 ticks it will say RAR. You can also use a repeat command block to constantly check for something. Or if you turn it off of always active to where it needs redstone, then it will only repeat the input command whenever it has a redstone signal. So you can use a lever to turn it on or off, for example. So since the lever is off, it won't spam RAR, but as soon as you turn the lever on, it will continue repeating the command input. In a nutshell, the repeat command block just repeats the command over and over. Really useful for checking to see if something has changed. But now let's switch this back to impulse and look at how the delay and tick works for the impulse. At first I was thinking that if you place a button on the impulse with a delay of 50, then it will activate 50 ticks after you press the button. But this is not the case. It actually needs redstone to start counting the tick delay, and also when the tick delay is over to activate the command. So if you use a lever, it will activate after the tick delay that you set one time, since it's an impulse. It won't repeat, it'll just activate once. So in this case, it'll activate 50 ticks after we turn the lever on. And now moving on from the tick delay setting onto the condition setting. So in general, you're going to be using unconditional. What conditional means is that in order for the command block to activate, the previous command block pointing to that command block needs to have activated. So if we switch this command block to conditional and try to activate it, nothing will happen because there is no previous command block pointing to it. When you place a command block, it will always be pointing toward you. So if we place a command block behind this conditional command block, you will see that the arrow is now pointing into the other arrow. So now if this command block is activated, then the conditional command block will activate as well. The condition setting is mainly used for chains, meaning that if one command activates, then a second command will activate. But if the first command fails, then the second command won't activate. And so here I put in an invalid command. So since it's invalid, it's not activating, therefore the condition has not been met, so it won't activate our monster command block. But if I fix it to where it is a valid command, like say, now if I press the button, it will activate the say command for subscribe and then activate our monster command, like so. So basically, a conditional command block will only activate if the parent command block was successful. The conditional setting is really similar to how a chain command block works. A chain command block will only activate if there's a command block pointing into it, but the chain block doesn't care if the parent block was successful or not. So you still have the conditional setting on the chain block. So if the chain block is set to conditional, then it will only activate if the parent command block was successful. But if it's set to unconditional, then it will just work even if the parent command block didn't work. So right here, we see that the parent block did not work, and so since the chain block is set to conditional, it also will not work. But if we switch it to unconditional, now even though the parent block fails, the chain command block will activate. So with chain command blocks, all they really care is what is pointing into them, and then so a lot of times you'll see chain commands built in a line like so. Then they will activate any time that their parent is activated, depending on whether they're on conditional or unconditional. Now the redstone is usually set to always active because you don't necessarily need a redstone signal on a chain, since it only activates when the parent block does. So basically, the purple repeating ones activate forever and ever, the green chain ones only activate as part of a chain, and then the orange impulse only activate one time. But really quick, also to demonstrate, if you just have a single chain block, even if it is set to needs redstone or always active, no matter what it's set to, if it's by itself, it will just never activate. It has to have another command block going into it in order for it to activate. So this poor little chain block won't activate by itself, but if we simply place another command block going into that chain block, now if we just press the button, it will work. It doesn't even need to have anything in the parent command block, it just needs the parent command block to have activated. And since a chain block won't activate even if a redstone signal is sent to it, you can actually use the redstone signal setting on the chain block to work as a lock. So if it's set to needs redstone, then it will need a redstone signal when the parent block is active for it to work. So if we place the button up here where the green one is not receiving a redstone signal, it won't work even if the parent is receiving a redstone signal. So if we switch it to always active, now our monster will say rar, but if we switch it to needs redstone, you can use that to actually lock or unlock the chain. Meaning that if it doesn't have a redstone signal, then it won't activate when the parent does. But if it does have a redstone signal, then it will activate when the parent does. Pretty interesting stuff. Super funky, I know, it seems really complicated, but the more you practice, the more you will understand. So just practice with simple commands that you know and understand, and before too long, it will all make sense. But really, command blocks are just super fascinating. I mean, you can make anything that you can imagine. Like over here, really quick before we end this video, I'll give you an example. This is a door that opens when you pull the sword out of the stone. Or break the end rod, technically. But, my idea was to make a door that opens when you pull a sword from a stone, and that's kind of the basic idea of it, is that you have a repeating command block, constantly checking to see if that end rod is still there, and then when it notices that it's not there, it creates a hole and then triggers the rest of the events. So here we have a repeating command block that actually is checking to see if that end rod is there and then creating a hole, but then we set it to needs redstone so that it doesn't just keep creating the hole over and over. That way, when it activates finally, a chain command block activates after that, which depowers the repeating block. It'll remove that redstone block, so now the repeating block is no longer checking for that end rod. And that just gives time for the other commands to actually activate so it doesn't just keep creating a hole when it notices that the end rod isn't there. So, it allows you to fill in the hole, replace the end rod, give the player slow falling, all that good stuff. Oh, and really quick before we wrap up this video, there's something I forgot to mention, and that is that there is a built-in error log. So rather than it just not telling you why it's not working, it actually tells you what's wrong with your command. So if we put in the command say with 2 Y's, that's not a valid command, so it'll tell us that it's not a valid command. That is really, really helpful for figuring out why your command isn't working so that you're not just shooting in the dark. But that's all we got for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it made sense. I hope I didn't ramble too much. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this video and what you would like to see in the future. I am by no means a professional when it comes to command blocks. I am simply trying to learn and then share my experiences with you. So maybe we can go on this command block learning journey together. But until next time, I've been your host, OmLedu, hopefully teaching you a command block trick or two, and reminding you, as always, don't forget to have fun. Bye-bye!